Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Talkin Kop. It is the Talkin Kop. Keith told us the other day it was the LFC Day Trippers. Then he made a bleeding bollocks of the intro. I seen it all, Keith. Don't worry. I did say it. Fair play to him. Anyway, this is Gav. This is Ashley. This is Kev. And we are here to talk about some transfers, ins, outs, whatever you want. Hey, Boogie in the chat very, very early doors saying, this better not be behind the paywall or our heads will roll. Well, you'd be pleased to know, hey Boogie, that it's not behind the paywall, and if it was, you wouldn't have fucking seen the show, and you wouldn't have been able to comment either, so relax. Anyway, let's talk some transfers. It is Tuesday the 27th of August. The window closes in 3 days and 56 minutes, and I have that right. I'm nearly sure I have that right. Chris was making up all sorts of Back to the Future fucking numbers last week, but it's definitely 3 days and 56 minutes that it closes, no matter where you are in the world. Ashley, I'm going to come to you first. Liverpool have got a signing. It is Mamardashvili. It is from Valencia. It is 30 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons. He's due to sign up with the squad. I think it's around that. Could be wrong. Could be fucking a few quid more. I'm not too sure. But he's due to sign for Liverpool. It looks like the medicals and all have been done. They're waiting on international clearance. And he will, it says in their quote, that due to join up then with Liverpool for this 25-26 season. Are you happy that Milli Vanilli is finally here? I'm not here at the same time.
I'm thrilled that we've gotten a signing over the line just to prove that Hughes can do it. And I think it's a shrewd signing. I know it's not going to impact the team immediately, but for that price, with that level of goalkeeper, it is a smart signing. I know it's not the signing that we all immediately want right now, but it is going to help our team in the long run. So I am happy.
Yeah, it is going to help us. It's not going to help us right now, but it's anybody. Come here, I seen him in the Euros. Seen him a couple of games in the Euros. He's good. For anyone that watches a bit of Spanish football that I know and watches saying, listen, he's very, very, very good. And I've gone to watch a little few clips of him, and he does look good. Big stature of a goalkeeper. Really good shot stopper. Commands his area, all that sort of stuff. But I won't really know him until he starts playing for Liverpool. I'm not going to be watching Valencia every week, with, looking to see how he's getting on, because I don't care until he turns up at Liverpool. But it's one of those where it's forward planning. It's just probably dropped in the wrong window, because what are we forward planning for? They could be doing something now.
Yeah,
but Kev, it's a sign in there that I think it's intriguing. I've said it all along. I think it's intriguing because if he does stay at Valencia for a year, he stays on loan for a year. He supposedly joins up at Liverpool in 25-26. That's what they're saying. But when he shows up, you potentially have himself, Kelleher and Alisson there. And this is off the back of Alisson's interview saying he's so happy at Liverpool. We'll see out his contract. Hope maybe even signing a new contract and stuff like that. Knew about Mamardashvili weeks before anybody else did and was telling the club, great idea, great move. So it's an intriguing one, isn't it? Just, all the elements thrown in there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of his stats here, and this one stands out a mile. Bearing in mind he's playing for Valencia, and it's not the Valencia of old. 102 appearances for the La Liga side and kept 31 clean sheets.
Yeah.
And it's not as if it's a stellar Valencia. So came in as a fourth choice keeper, worked his way up, 23 years of age. As you said, had a really good Euros. So there's everything to like about this guy. 6'6", and can play with the ball at his feet as well. So, but again, he's one for next year and beyond. Great future planning, has all the tools to be a top keeper. The problem is it's signalling a mile off the exit for Alisson Becker, whether it's a decision the club want to make or one that Alisson wants to make himself, and we're protecting ourselves by signing him now. Because I can imagine if murmurings come around April next year that Alisson Becker is off to wherever, and we start going around looking for keepers, that price shoots right up through the roof and beyond. So it's potentially an absolute brilliant signing. But on the other side of it, the prospect of Alisson leaving the club within the next year, 2 years, is one to get to grips with, to be honest, because he is without a doubt the best keeper I've seen at the club in my lifetime, and he's hands down the best keeper in the world. And it's going to be a difficult task for anyone to come in and take over from him. But look, it's going to happen eventually. This kid could be an absolute superstar. Shawnee's raved about him, and he watches an awful lot of Spanish football and said this guy is the next one. He is the next heir apparent to that elite level of keeper. So time will tell. We'll see.
Yeah. I want to give a shout out in the chat to Charlie George, who I met at Anfield as I was walking in the door, and he does say things like, I love the channel, boss, it's great to see it and all, but I have a feeling he's lying, because the first thing he said to me when he said, all right mate, like the show, is that the beautiful Sean Lawson heading towards the toilets? That was the first thing he said to me. So don't be giving me all that, Charlie, it was great to see it. You only fucking happened to be looking past me at Shawnee and noticed me out of the corner of your eye, but no, it was good to meet you. It was very surprising. I literally walked through the turnstile and this guy went, love the show. Is that Shawnee going to the toilet? Yeah, it is, mate. Listen, great to see you. But I did say put a message in and I'd read it out, so I kept me promise, Charlie, and it was good to see you. We were in around the same area of the ground, so yeah, it was good to see you. Let me see, what have we got here? Boom, boom, boom. Brian Murphy. Brian, come on, will you? He says, I wouldn't be too surprised if Mamardashvili doesn't play one game for us. He looks like a top goalkeeper in the making, but he's not style-wise our type of goalkeeper. Flip for a profit in 2 to 3 years, in my opinion. Can we not just have some nice times where we sign a player and go, he's really good, he'll be here next year? Like, why do you do this to yourselves rather than us? No, can't see him playing a game. Flip him for profit. How are we meant to flip him for profit in 2 to 3 years when he's here in a year and we don't play him for 2 years and expect to make more money off him? That makes no sense. But anyway, just listen, can we not have a fucking...
The one thing I will say, it does signal with this signing for next year. It looks like our goalkeeper slots now are settled for this season. And I'm gobsmacked that we've managed to keep Creevy Kelleher again for another year. Unless something radical happens in the next few days.
Yeah, and to be honest with you,
it's good. It's good for the club.
I'm a bit amazed at it as well. If I was Creevy Kelleher, as just from his point of view, I'd be going, listen, get me out of here. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to play ahead of this fella, and you're signing another guy to come in next year. You're paying €30 million for. It's a bit of a mad one. John says Arsenal fans talking themselves into believing we are selling them Darwin Núñez. I did see that. I seen some fella tweeting, look lads, I don't really get information, but I work with a lot of retired South American guys, and Darwin Núñez is trying to get out of Liverpool. Listen, let's see come Friday. But Arsenal are like, Arsenal apparently are chatting away now like Darwin Núñez is the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ, when 2 weeks ago they were probably showing you clips of him missing a few chances. And they're doing this awful thing where they're referencing Arsenal or the Emirates as the carpet. What the fuck is going on there? But they're just the weirdest club in the world. I'm sure Win the dog will be delighted if Darwin Núñez signs there on Friday, and maybe they'll play You'll Never Walk Alone through the speakers on the training ground in a way to welcome. So, moving on, this fella Chiesa, Ashley Chiesa, linked with Liverpool, but in amongst it all, it's like Barcelona have another 24 hours, lads, and then they're like, that 24 hours is past. Barcelona have another 24 hours, lads. This is like the little teaser day on day, and then my favourite bit of it all was there's a private jet out there flying out of England to somewhere to collect him. Then it flew on to somewhere else to collect his agent, and now it's flying back to Blackpool. So it's all going on. But, like, jokes aside, it is being, like, heavily touted around the place with regards to Chiesa, right? First of all, what's your impression of this signing that they're trying to do? The talk is €15 million, 3 to 4 year deal. I'm not sure what money he's on at the minute, but I'm going to say he's on north of 100 grand.
Is that about 180,000
pounds? Euros,
Euros.
So £150,000.
Yeah.
All right, okay, that changes things. But actually, what's your feeling on it? Because understandably, a lot of people are going, look, we need backup on the right. I think they see Elliot, although he comes on the wide right the other day, but you see Elliot as a midfielder. This is an opportunistic signing. The guy had a good season last season, being on the pitch wise. What's your feeling on it?
I mean, it's one of those ones that felt very much out of the blue. I don't think that he was really on too many people's radar this particular summer, but he has been on the radar of LFC in years past. I mean, there have been times that I know we've talked about him in some of our like summer transfer chats. And a lot of that was prior to the ACL injury. I think some of the big fears from everybody upon hearing this news is he injury prone or not? Has he fully recovered from that injury? Is he the player that we all kind of were excited about prior to the injury? And I think there was a lot of kind of misgivings yesterday, especially in our chat about, oh, are we going for like an older player past their prime? But it seems like the narrative has kind of shifted in the last 24 hours. I mean, obviously, once you kind of learn that there's concrete interest, your narrative's always going to shift and you're going to try to find the positive. But I do think that for the price, there is something there to work with. He has lots of talent, clearly. He does fill that Mo Salah kind of backup vacancy. And if we are getting him for a 5th or 6th choice front line forward for that price, and if he does take a wage cut, I think there's something to be done there. And I think it's actually kind of a shrewd piece of business.
Yeah, I think when I look at it and, there's a load of things you can throw at this, right? You have the likes of, the injury record. But if you look at the injury record is thrown in since 2021, I think it might have been, or maybe 21-22, when he misses 53 games because of I think it's an ACL he does.
The ACL injury, yeah.
And since then he's been all right. I think last season, he makes 33 appearances, 7 or 8 goals, 3 or 4 assists. I watched him in the Euros. There was flashes in the Euros for me where you go, he's a fucking really good player. And then there was somewhere where it was like, off the right wing, he felt a bit one-dimensional at times then as well. But that's just me watching him over the course. It's not a huge sample size. But at 25, 26, as a backup to Salah, I don't think it's a bad signing. My only worry here is, and it is a worry, is that you sign him for 15 million. He's okay. Salah doesn't sign a deal and leaves, and the club go, Chiesa's there now. Isn't that great what we done there last summer by signing his replacement a year earlier? That's where I think that's where my little niggle is. I'm okay with a player coming in. I'm right behind the player coming in, and it's a good deal. It's a good fee if the wages are right. But that's just my little issue that's just in the back of my head.
I couldn't care less about the wages. That's an FSG problem. If you'd have said Federico Chiesa to me 3 years ago, pre his injury, I'd have been said, yes, snap him up, 90 million, worth it all day long. The guy's going to be an absolute superstar. I just out of curiosity, I looked on my own Twitter and just typed in Chiesa. When was the first time I started talking about it or noticing him? It was 2019 in a Nations Cup game between Italy and Spain. And I just looked at the tweets that I put out. I was talking about this game, 5 or 6, all about him. He was absolutely phenomenal. And you look back to before his injury, the type of fees and clubs that were linked with him, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, ourselves. Every top club in Europe wanted this guy. He got a horrific injury. Something like he missed 254 days with an ACL injury. And last year, it was niggly little things that you'd expect from a player who's coming back from injury to pull up with. Muscle strain, tiredness, that kind of thing. But when you actually break it down, I watched something earlier. He played more games than Trent did last year. So he played more minutes than Trent did last season. He could be anything. At 15 million, it's a free hit. We've seen these type of deals before. Arthur Melo, before his big move from Barcelona was touted as, he's going to be an absolute brilliant player. He's a tactician in the middle of the park. He was invisible for us. But this guy, the Italians took the risk in playing him, in selecting him for their side for the Euros over other players who would probably have been fancied more. He's got all the tools to play across the front three, left, through the mid, right, and I just think you have to take the gamble at that price. The Barcelona thing, I They only just managed to get Danny Olmo registered today because Christensen got a bad injury. That's the only reason Danny Olmo was able to be registered by Barcelona at all, is they deregistered Christensen because of an injury. How they expect to be able to do another one, anyone's guess. They haven't a clue. But yeah, it's got to be worth it for me. It's not the signing I think that anyone really wanted, because everyone was like, can he play midfield? Not really. You know, he doesn't address an immediate problem, but at the same time, you do have a Mo Salah issue coming up in the next 12 months. And Harvey Elliott as your first choice to come off the bench to give Mo Salah a rest isn't ideal, because I think he is better through the middle and he is better in midfield. He can do a job for you in the wing, whereas this guy can do a job across all three front positions, left, and he can do a job on the right. It would take time for him to learn and all that, but I just think he's worth the gamble. Has to be.
Yeah, like when I watched him, you know, in the Euros, he played off the right for Italy, and there was like pieces where I was going, fucking the skill out of this fella, and the quick. He looked really quick at times. He looked, you know, really quick in his thinking and stuff like that. And then there was a little bit where I was like, he looked a bit like he was just a guy that wants to face up a fullback and shift it past him, and there needs to be a bit more to that. But maybe that's just me watching him for 2 or 3 games. Like I said, Yus says we are all scared from signing injury burden players. That's why. Yeah, the fact Juve want rid of him should raise eyebrows alone. I think the biggest issue for Juve is they fear that he'll walk next year on a free. That's their biggest problem. I think they're open to selling this player to make some money on him. Because
it's not just that, by the way. Juve have got a deal to go through tomorrow to try to get Cooper Miners in.
Oh,
so they desperately want to get someone off the books to be able to get that Cooper Miners deal in and over the line. And apparently Cooper Miners is going to Turin tomorrow. So someone is going from Juventus, whether it's Chiesa or who. That plane is doing some overtime.
Jeez, that plane is all over the place, flying more than Ryanair. But look, we're going to have to wait and see. There's 3 days to go, and the madness is really starting now. It's like there's just names going up everywhere, and it's just like this player, like this whole Raheem Sterling to United stuff with Sancho going the other way, and Ben Chilwell was mentioned, and you know, like that's all kicking out. Ivan Toney was halfway to Saudi Arabia, and now Chelsea are trying to sign him. Like Chelsea have known all summer that they can get Ivan Toney. All summer, well, they're signing all these players left, right, and centre. They know Ivan Toney's there for the taking. I went, now let's wait until he agrees. Like loads of money with Saudi Arabia, and then we'll try top it. Yeah. Like that's how mad that is. Like
the one thing I say about Ivan Toney to Saudi Arabia is look at Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson went there, and he has to stay out of the UK and the same with Wilfred Zaha. They cannot go back to the UK within a time period. So for tax reasons. So if he goes to Saudi and takes the money, what have you, you've got to work outside of the UK for I think 3 years. 2. Otherwise, it's 2, is it? But it's still a long time in football terms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to weigh up. But the money he's being offered to go to Saudi Arabia, wage wise, Chelsea can never match that.
Well, it's just mad that they leave it till the last minute. But listen, that's the way they're carrying on. Eli says Juve are in some financial straits with salaries similar to Barcelona. Yeah, look, that's where Juve are with this. I think they're worried they'll lose a player and they lose possibly 15 million on that, and they want to make that happen. Ashley, back to you, and Dylan O'Rourke puts a comment in here with regards to Bajcetic off to Salzburg to be completed tomorrow on loan. There's very mixed feelings on this one as well from a lot of people. Where are you on this one? I would have wanted him to stay. The club, obviously, if they're loaning him out, feel they'll get more minutes, some experience, more regular minutes with Salzburg. But where are you on this? Because with the style of football we're playing, I'm starting to be a little bit mystified as to how Bajcetic doesn't, as that style of player, get a look in here, especially with the other 6 that we have.
I mean, the only reason that I can think of is just the sheer number of minutes that he probably needs in his body to get back to the physical fitness levels that would be required at a team like Liverpool, because I don't think he's going to get those minutes. I think, if he was to stay, it would be as like a very late rotational option. And if we were in the Europa League again, I think it'd be a really different story. Same thing with Morton. I think it'd be a very different story. They'd be getting minutes, but for his recovery, and if you're looking at it from a player perspective, I do think it's actually a very good move for him because he's going to be playing at a very high level in Champions League football
Yeah,
potentially.
I
He's
don't
going to be
disagree with that at
surrounded
all. Yeah.
by he'll be surrounded by people that he's familiar with, coaches who know him, who can, cater to his injury history. And, he's got a friend in Bobby Clark there as well. And, so from his perspective, it makes a lot of sense. I think the thing that everyone's struggling with is the other side of the coin, which is what it means from our perspective and what it means for numbers in the midfield. Because in terms of bodies in the midfield, it is getting dangerously low. And I know that Curtis's injury is minor, but that to me is already one red flag warning sign for this season. And I just don't think we have the numbers that we need in that midfield. So that's where the worry comes. I don't think it actually comes from the move itself. I think it comes for like what it does to our team for the rest of the season.
I fully agree with you. I think the move itself, in different circumstances, I think the move itself, I'm sorry, you're right. The player move is good because he's probably been told, listen, the minutes won't be regular here. We want to get you a full season somewhere, good standard. Pep Linders knows you. Like you said, Bobby Clark has gone there, so that's settling in is a little bit easier. But, and that's absolutely fine. He goes there for a year, he gets a full year under his belt, and I'd hope he's come back to Liverpool bigger, stronger. He's had those issues over the last year, and this is probably the best way to see it, because they've nursed him for a year. They've nursed him for a year. He sees 15 minutes against Spurs, I think, towards the back end of the season. He might get another couple of minutes somewhere else, but they've nursed him. They've looked after him, and they send him on loan. I think they send him on loan, hoping he comes back there, and it's like, boom, he's ready to go now. We've done best for him. But on the other side of it, and Kev, I'll give you a shout on this. The other side of it is, I'm sitting here now and I'm saying to myself, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Elliott, Jones, Endo. That's your 6, right? It's not enough numbers wise, and I don't think it's enough quality wise in deeper line players. And we're letting a deeper line player who's good quality, but I understand why you're letting him go. And we're still sitting here and we're going, there's the 6. Doesn't make an awful lot of sense to me, Kev.
No, you have to be. I mean, if you look at the squad numbers now, you've got 3 keepers, you've got 8 defenders. At the moment, currently, we have 8 midfielders and we have 5 forwards. And 6 if you include Dan's. All right? So, and Trainioni would make 9 centre mids. That's okay. Not that numbers wise, that's fine. Quality wise, there's a lot of players there with things to prove, but experience wise, it's nowhere near enough. You start taking away from that. You can't put too much on Trainioni. He's only a kid. Bajcetic needs the loan. It's a great move for him. It's a great move long term for us. Short term, it does nothing for us. There's talk as well that Tyler Morton could be on the out as well. That leaves us with a flat 6. That's nowhere near enough quality wise, quantity wise. The volume of games that this season that we're going to be playing this season is crazy. The intensity, we're not going to be able to rotate heavily in the Europa League. A few key players throughout the Europa League group stage to do that this season. So it's way too much. It's putting way too much on the current midfield that we have. And you saw it firsthand. You were at the game at the weekend. From just watching it from at home, it's really hard work off the ball. A lot of movement off the ball for players to make angles, to show passes, and to condense the midfield the way we were condensing it, that takes a lot of that. It's fine when it's one game a week, but when you're doing that, trying to play to that level every 3 days, every 3 to 4 days, that takes legs. That's what I was going on about the other night. It's you need players that can stay fit, that can stay healthy, that can run for days, and have the concentration and the mental strength to be able to play that way. And I'm looking. I mean, Endo, I think doesn't tick the boxes. Curtis Jones will struggle fitness wise to stay healthy for long enough. The Szoboszlai is tailor made for it. And at times, I think if we go with the numbers that we're going with, I think at times you're going to have to play Trent in midfield from time to time, because just the sheer number of players in the squad, we just don't have enough. So I think if they're going to be looking to loan anyone out now, they have to be replaced. You can't just let them go and just say bye-bye and good luck and we'll see you in 12 months. You can't do that.
Yeah. Russell says, do people not watch games? When does Slot play with a DM? He plays 2 8s and a 10. He played 2 8s and a 10 the other day, Russell. And one of them played in the number 6 position because I stood on the ground and watched him do it. He literally stood in front of our defence for the whole fucking game. And the only time he didn't was when he pressed. Well, Mo Salah cheated and stayed upfield. He went and pressed their left back a lot of the time. But he 100% plays with a deep line midfielder. And Gravenberch was that the other day. He literally stood 10 yards away from his 2 centre-backs for the whole game. The whole game. Every time Liverpool had the ball, he was there the whole game. And I'm not putting... I thought Gravenberch was the man of the match the other day. I thought he was excellent the other day because he kept the ball. I don't think he gave it away, actually. One tackle he flew into it and the whole ground went whoa. But you don't get the you don't get the replays in the ground of that. I don't know how bad it was. I haven't seen it since. But other than that, really, really nice on the ball. He drops a shoulder in a way where he actually sells players and they actually do go that half yard one way and he just turns and goes the other way. Some lovely stuff out of Gravenberch today. Midfield wise, Szoboszlai can run all day. He was brilliant going forward and back, especially going backwards actually. He chased that Mbuemo fella for about 80 yards down Anfield the other day and looked at his doing it. And McAllister was quite quiet until the last 20, but was efficiently doing his job. And when I looked, I didn't come out of the ground just to get off the transfers, man. I didn't come out of the ground going, we'd be fine in that 6. Not a chance. I came out of the ground going, they played really, really well, okay? And I'd have no problem with Gravenberch going in beside another player or a McAllister or indeed a Szoboszlai. But I still think we need a player that specialises in that position. And that position for Liverpool is, call it what you want. It's a guy that's really good at football with his facing his own goal, okay? And he's really good at sniffing out issues and problems and dealing with them. And Gravenberch can probably grow into that. He was really good the other day. But when you look at it, Gravenberch has had his injury issues, okay? McAllister will do an awful lot of travelling during the year because of South America, and you know he comes back a bit. He looks drunk sometimes when he comes back, let's be honest. Szoboszlai had a couple of niggles last year. Jones gets niggles, okay? And I think Jones will work really well further forward in that system. Elliott is always fit. I'm surprised he hasn't seen more game time. And Endo comes onto the pitch, and basically what Endo does is he just runs about and tries to cut off passing lanes, cut off, areas that they can get dangerous. And yeah, he passed around a little bit, but you can see he's really awkward at it. It's really awkward for him.
Endo looks like the kind of guy he has to think about what he's been asked to do before he does it.
I think if you dropped, it's
not his fault.
I think if you want to look at Endo in that position, there was times where Gravenberch was on the ball, you go, Endo could do that. But there was other times where Gravenberch dropped the shoulder. When the ball came, he just dropped the shoulder and just took 2 strides with a football. And the guy chasing him hadn't a hope of catching him. Because he has those 2 strides that are lengthy strides that just puts him in a position where you can't touch him. And then if you commit another player to him, he's just fizzing something away. And he was really, really good. I just think history for what these players is, history for these injuries and stuff like that, plus them all having to play an awful lot of games between the 6 of them. It's good. Like Jerry says, Jones' reputation enhances the more time he misses. That's not true. I think Jones is a good player in a Liverpool squad. His reputation doesn't enhance because I haven't turned around and said put Jones in there, so it doesn't. I think actually Jones suits where
McAllister plays.
Yeah, he suits that. If you're picking them out, Graven or Szoboszlai is the runner. Szoboszlai is the machine up and down. McAllister is a bit more technical and linky. And then you have Gravenberch that just goes around playing good football and trying to be that guy that sees off danger. But they all work together. They did at the weekend. And it's weird because the amount of times Liverpool just drop off and go, here, you have the ball. Have it for a few minutes and then we're going to take it off you and you're not getting it back for 5 minutes. It was interesting. Let me see. Should I dare read out some Indy Kyle? Let's do it because he's the crack. Yeah, he's one of my favourites. Chris Brack says the Indy news is that Liverpool want to sell Joe Gomez and sign Jarrett Brentwaite from Everton. More breaking news: Arsenal and Barcelona interested in signing Darwin Núñez. You see, he was going grand until he threw that in a bit at the end. He was going fine, but Indy lost the run of himself ever since he won that big car battle during the week. He's in a big car battle. He's a mad fucker. But there's your big news from Indy tonight. Let me see. So we've gone through Chiesa. A couple more names thrown around. Actually, I'll come to you. Let's start with the fact that we've gone through that midfield there. We haven't heard anything about midfielders since Zubimendi, right? That's a given. And then on the centre-back stuff, with Joe Gomez considering his options before the Ipswich game, Van den Berg sold for 25 million. There's been nothing on a centre-half either, actually. It's a bit, the Brantwaite stuff feels a bit tenuous for me. If it was anybody else, I'd say, yeah, fine. But the Brantwaite stuff feels a bit tenuous, and this Lekeba one as well feels a bit like they throw a name in. And I've seen someone, sorry, just by the way, someone mentioned Kingsley Coman the other day, about 20 minutes ago. Trust me, Kingsley Coman's name gets thrown at Liverpool every summer around the 27th or 28th of August. That's how it works. But centre-half, midfield, nothing really showing up there, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing was really showing up in terms of a winger until yesterday either, though. So I think we're all hoping that there is stuff going on behind the scenes, because if Joe Gomez walks out that door, we damn well better have someone walking in the door, because that's a whole nother conversation about us being short in another part of the pitch. And it's not just at center back. If you're losing Joe Gomez, you're losing cover all over the place. So unless you're talking bringing in Gertruda or something, which I still don't think solves our problems.
Linked with Villa today, 35 million.
Yeah, he was. And he has been linked with Villa, I think, since the beginning of August. But you got to have someone lined up there. You can't be going short in multiple areas of the pitch. You might be able to go short in one position, but at this point in time, we're talking about multiple different positions that we're going to be short in, and that scares the crap out of me.
I think when I look at the centre halves here, I think the sale of Sepp van den Berg is right, fine, and I think most would expect that. But now you are down to Gomez, you're down to Kanate, you're down to Kwanzaa, and you're down to Virgil van Dijk, right? And we know the issues across them. We know the age issues. We know the needing to rest them issues or wanting to rest them issues with the likes of Van Dijk and Kanate towards the back end of the season, where they were literally resting them as much as they possibly could. We know the age of Kwanzaa. We know Gomez being a utility player, but possibly sees himself as a centre-back. My guess here, Kev, is that we don't have any movement at centre-half in the next 3 days. That would be if I was to put money on it, that would be my guess.
I'll be honest, I think that if you didn't see anything today, that in all likelihood, I don't think you're going to see anything. You'd need to see some kind of movement, some kind of information coming out that we're looking at XYZ player tonight, tomorrow morning, tomorrow before lunchtime, at the absolute latest. Mamardashvili had his medical done in Valencia, and that was what, yesterday?
Did he?
Yeah, yesterday lunchtime.
I thought someone was tracking a bleeding plane from Valencia to Liverpool, having Ah, Jesus, the tracking.
He had his
tell you,
medical in
there's
Valencia.
not enough plane
But
tracking in the world anymore. It
but it
used to be
just
the
goes to
bizzle.
show how long it takes from getting a medical started, finished, signed, and announced. And that didn't involve any traveling time or anything. And that deal took the bones of 2 weeks to get over the line, to get done. It's like, unless you've got really willing partners now in bringing a player in to make something happen fast, then I think whatever gossip and noise and stuff you started seeing coming out today might be about it for big deals across all clubs. The likes of Osherman, the likes of McTominay, Sterling, Sancho. I think those are the type of deals now that are probably going to get over the line some way, shape, or form. But I think by tomorrow lunchtime, you'll have a real clear picture about what clubs are trying to do what and with who. But it's very rare now that you get an announcement like Friday morning that X player is shuttling up the motorway to go and have a medical done. That happens for championship clubs, League One and League Two. You very rarely, if ever, see that kind of stuff happening in Premier League anymore. Those days are long gone. The Harry Redknapp days are long gone now.
Well, it's just it's just the centre half thing just doesn't. It feels like you'd nearly want Joe Gomez to be on the verge of signing for someone, and you'd have to need someone on the verge of signing someone right now. We'd have to be on the verge of completing something right now for it to work. I'm a bit distracted because Matt is gathering a group of friends in the chat here by the looks of it. Like Canada has millions of people, and we're meant to be shocked at the fact that some of them millions may watch here. But they're like, oh, no way, you live there, oh, so do I. Wow, this is amazing. And the only thing I could think of was we could send them, like there's one guy here, I think it's Sideline Football Channel, I was thinking, I could send them one adult-sized can of beer, and they could just split it, and it'd still be a normal-sized can of beer for them, which is amazing. So I might... So that's all I could think about. I'm really sorry. All I could think about was I only need to buy one can between both of these. So there you go. But the centre half stuff, it just feels like too much to do in 3 days. Yeah. Unless you're going, no, Joe Gomez stays and we're signing this guy. Gertrude is being linked with a £35 million move to Aston Villa. Villa have been mentioned around Joe Gomez. You have the guy thing going on with Newcastle, who were there in from, now they're not, now they're back in. I don't know what's going on. It's just there's an awful lot of names being thrown and clubs being thrown at players and stuff like that, and it just feels like none of it will happen.
But my biggest fear is that Guehi will move, that Palace and Newcastle will do a deal. And once you've seen it before, you've seen one deal happens and that kickstarts 2 or 3 other moves elsewhere.
But I know what your worry here is. Guy goes to Newcastle,
and
Palace
Gomez
come looking for Gomez, and we're left standing there going, well done, Newcastle and Palace, and we let another player go.
What the hell? Yeah, I think you have to have someone that you can say, yeah, we'll have it. And that could be Lukeba from RB Leipzig. It could be someone like him. I don't know that much about him. I'm just looking at his stats. He's 21. Played all the age ranges through for France. 6'3". He's got a contract till 2028, but at the same time, Leipzig Bundesliga is the type of football he'd have been used to be. It's the type of football he'd be accustomed to playing in. That open attacking type of football means he probably is a decent centre back, and he's a right age that you could mould. But he would be coming in as your 4th choice, because your next one then is Nat Phillips. And with Oasis touring and that, he could be distracted doing all kinds of things this year.
Yeah, he's looking for Airbnbs in Dublin and stuff like that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Martin says, and I can't help but mention this, Mr. Schwackhoff has news coming up. Is this the guy that officially said he's
retiring? The guy
retiring?
that retired?
Yeah, he's officially retiring from the ITK game at the end of the summer. We just give it over.
Until something exciting happens.
Yeah, have a bleeding
Fine
day
print.
off. Just fucking hell. Jono says Arsenal fans are special. They literally made up a Darwin rumour 5 minutes ago And now they're all tweeting about it like it's happening. They truly do believe they're outside that club. But the thing with John, was it an Arsenal fan that done it? I thought it was like some guy that was like some South American guy that works for a lot of South American pensioners that used to be footballers.
I think he's a Chilean journalist.
Oh, okay, is he?
Chilean journalist.
Oh, yeah,
he calls himself a journalist.
Right.
His Twitter account
Anyone
is something
can
like
call themselves a journalist.
350,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got something like 350,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's like he's got pretty much every transfer punt that he's taken wrong.
Yeah.
But when you've got that kind of a size of an account and you say something and you include Liverpool, you know what happens next. It just goes boom.
Yeah.
So it's all kinds of nonsense. But at the end of the day, if we get the Chiesa deal over the line, and you look at a front six that we'd have available to us, that's promising. Genuinely, that's as strong a front six as you're likely to see anywhere. But I can't remember a time when we've gone into a season with an all-out front, 6 options at striker.
There was one where we had Origi, Minamino, and then we had Mane, Salah, Firmino, and there was one more.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah, there was kind of. Remember, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was going to be like
playing the false line.
He was going to play
But in general, usually when we see that amount of numbers for forwards, it's because they're preparing for one to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it's a make or break season for Núñez. I don't think it's an imminent departure. I mean, I hope not. But I do think that, this is a big year for him. I could see him going next year if this doesn't work out, because, it is a whole new style of football for him to learn. And whether or not he has the football intelligence to take that on board, I don't know. But I do think that if Slot has made lesser strikers than Núñez into decent goal scorers, I think that he has it in him to step up.
Brian says 538 watching, 131 likes. Come on, lads, hit the like button. Matt's made a friend. Yeah, listen, and there's we've two thumbs down. I think that might be Matt and the Sideline Football Show, because I was talking about the size of cans. So I'm sorry, lads. Look, I was only messing, so hit the unlike button there, Matt and Sideline Football Show. Antio says, and a quote from, this is the one I seen, AFC Camden or whatever, Arsenal interested in signing Darwin Núñez before Friday's transfer deadline. Player keen to move to London and work under Mikel Arteta to win trophies, and Liverpool willing to sell.
You lost me when you said Mikel Arteta winning
I
trophies.
know, but the problem here is that Arsenal are struggling to sign players because they can't get rid of Eddie Nketiah. Literally Eddie Nketiah must be going around the clubs going, he's like your man off Austin Powers, like $1 million, and everyone's going, what?
Yeah.
Look,
it looks
Eddie,
like
that was
he
a
could
joke.
be going
That
to
was a
Palace,
joke
though.
in a film years ago. Why are you doing it? And he's like, no, I want $1 million a week. And everyone's going, well, I'm not giving that. And Arsenal are going, what the fuck? How can we not get rid of this guy? The reason is you gave him 120 grand a week, a new contract probably last year when he scored about 10 goals for you. That's why you can't get rid of him. And he's on a nice big deal, so it just makes sense. But that's the one I'm saying.
They had to get one out with Fabio Vieira going back.
He's got on to Porto, isn't he?
He's got on load of Porto to be able to get Mikel Moreno in the door.
Yeah.
So the Arsenal look like they're on a policy at the minute of one in, one out.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think he probably will end up at Palace. It does make sense. Palace do need a striker. So it's.
I'm hoping this is true, because Martin has put a message in here from Ivan Schwackhoff saying, breaking, being told Liverpool are highly interested in signing William Saliba. The player wants to win the Champions League, and Saliba loves Van Dijk and Anfield. So if that really is a tweet from your man Ivan, he's earned my respect back. Because do you know what? I bet
he can unretire now.
But the thing is, right? They all need to fucking retire from pretending to know what they're talking about, because they haven't a fucking breeze. But what they should do is, right, Indy Coyle should be doing seminars, right, in all the cities around the UK, right. It's a 3-day seminar on how you can work with satire and the football transfer market and like make money from it, because that's what they're all out to do, is make money from it. So, but Indy, if you're out there, man, give me a shout. I can be your agent. I can sort out venues and all the promotion and stuff like that and design it all up for you. But they should 100%, Indy should be going around going, lads, listen, 3-day course, Birmingham, 9th to the 10th of September, 9th of September. Come down and I'll tell you how to do it, because that's how. That's how it should be done.
An absolute genius.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's the second genius to run that Twitter account. Is there any other names you want to discuss before we go?
Well, it looks like Owen Beck has gone on loan. He's gone
Blackburn.
back to Blackburn. Jason Kumas had a good night tonight. He scored assists, and I didn't realise that he's playing with Adam Morgan, who was the Irish under-21 international who was at Brighton. And they're both on loan at Stoke.
Did Liverpool used to have a striker called Adam Morgan?
Adam Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, right, go on,
yeah.
sorry.
Well, this guy is highly rated. I remember Joe from Brighton podcast was telling us this kid is a better footballer than Evan Ferguson when he was coming through the youth ranks.
Was this the guy that got 1 or 2 starts last season?
Yeah.
Is he a red-headed lad?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember him now, yeah, I know.
Dublin fella, he's from Dublin.
Yeah. And they're on loan at Stoke, are they, the two of them?
They're both on loan at Stoke, yeah. And they both scored tonight and look good apparently as well. I think Stoke scored 5 or something like that away from home, the League Cup.
Yeah. Andrew Moran, Irish lad at Brighton, yes, is Jerry. I thought you said Adam Morgan. You did say Adam Morgan, did you?
Adam Morn.
Yeah. Andrew Moran.
My mistake. Andrew Moran. It's close enough.
Yeah, you're getting there, Kev. Just start lashing a few letters.
I know Mahoney scored for Brighton tonight, and he's from Carrigaline.
Yeah. Look, it's a good move for Owen Beck. He was at Dundee last year, wasn't he? And now he's gone to Blackburn. Is that right? Have I got that right, Kev?
Yeah, he's gone to Blackburn, yeah.
Yeah. Brian says Mamardashvili and Chiesa would be nice bonuses, but it's more important we get a midfielder and defender in to make sure we've got the quality to compete on all fronts. Mamardashvili is a nice bonus. I think Chiesa is a bit of that's interesting. I agree with you on a midfielder. 1,000,000% I agree with you on a midfielder. So Brian, don't be fucking coming here on Friday giving out to me that you don't fucking say it. I'm telling you now, don't fucking start me on Friday. I 1,000,000% agree with you. On the centre-back thing, you either make Joe Gomez centre-back, which I think he does because he has 4 full-backs. You make Joe Gomez centre-back, and if that's the decision they come to, they live and die by it. But 100%, if we get to Friday and we haven't signed a midfielder, I think it's... I'm not saying I'm going to kick and scream about it for the whole fucking season. I won't. I'll be watching Liverpool and hoping they win. But I do think, lads, you've missed the trick here. You have absolutely missed the trick. I'm sorry to shout at you, Brian. I didn't mean it. Sorry. Any other names, Ashley?
I wish I had other names. I wish there were some tangible names there that actually made sense, because I think that we've sort of been circling around the same things over and over again. I think at this point we just have to wait and hope to be surprised. I really want someone like a Chiesa to come in and just, surprise us tomorrow morning, but in a midfield position. Because I'm with you. I think midfield is short, and I think, if we keep Joe Gomez, I'm not thrilled about it, but I'm happy about it. I'm happier than I think 3 center backs is just a disaster waiting to happen. So I think that if there's going to be another one coming in, I'd like it to be a midfielder. But I don't have any names. I wish I did, but I am not an ITK.
No, Sam Varela.
There is nothing flying about.
No, there's nothing. Sam Tandy says Alan Varela is the one to keep an eye on for LFC, especially with Vieira going back to Porto. Let me see. Antoango says, are we going back in for Zubamendi maybe in January? And does this midfield thing scream of Rabiot on deadline day? You see, this thing, right? Rabiot on deadline day. You can literally sign Rabiot all summer. You could have went and signed Rabiot the day after you didn't get Zubamendi. So, now unless, and this is all like, hypothetical, completely hypothetical. Unless Liverpool are looking at another, like the only way Rabiot happens is if you're looking at another midfielder aside from Zubimendi, or indeed, as Emma Kavanagh thinks, you're still looking at Zubimendi, and it doesn't happen. You go, oh, we'll take Rabiot, but you could literally sign Rabiot any time. So they would have done it. I have a horrible feeling they don't do it. I have a horrible feeling they say, well, we like what we have, and we go there, and I just feel we'll suffer for that. I really do, and I'm not wishing it to suffer, so I can tell you I'm right. In these sort of things, I'd rather be 1,000,000% wrong and people to laugh and point at me. But it just feels like there's too much work being done to get these fellas to know what we're doing, and on top of that, there's too much chance of one or more going down with injuries, and that'll scup you, and we'd be patching a midfield together before you know it. That's just how I feel on that. But it's midfield. It just doesn't feel like it'll happen, and I don't think centre half will happen. I think I'm actually now I'm talking and saying it out loud. I think Chiesa, and that's it. Kev?
Yeah, I agree. I just did a quick search there of Rabiot's name on social media, and he's not linked with anyone. I mean, his mum's his
mum must have grounded him.
His mum's as mad as a box of frogs, but he is a really good footballer. You know, there's no doubt. There's no taking away from his quality on the pitch. It's just he's all one as an absolute lunar. So it's like, what you do. You don't want to be in the situation where you're signing someone that brings problems into the dressing room, but at the same time, he is a quality footballer. And it's amazing that nobody's gone near him. It's the same, you look at your man that we were linked with, that we all thought we were going to be signing in January from Brazil. What was his name? Alan? Can't remember his name.
Andre,
that's it.
You're not good with names, Kev, are you?
I'm not very good with names now.
No.
But no one's gone near him, you know, and
Fulham were poking around, weren't they?
Yes, Fulham were sniffing around. There was a few other clubs sniffing around, but no one has gone in for these kind of players. Ederson, the Atalanta centre mid. All the talk was he was the next thing coming off the line, and someone is going to get snapped up by this club and that club and the other club. The only one that really moved in the summer was your man, the Portuguese kid that went to PSG. João Neves. And he's gone into PSG and he looks an absolute baller. He looks absolutely brilliant. And that's allowed them to let Ugarte go out the door. And they're recouping almost all of the money they shelled out for Ugarte as well. So it's like we were expecting a barnstorming summer of massive transfer moves up and down the leagues. And in truth, it's been a pretty average to quiet summer for big transfers, especially. It's nothing like last summer. I think the biggest move to happen so far is it Dom Solanke, and there's one other that's up in and around that region.
Euro was a big one. Euro's a big one.
Yeah, but he's not. He's not really a big fee, is he? He's like he's 52 million euro or something like that. Yeah. He's 18. But, last year you're talking 100 million for this, 120 million for that, 80 million for this other guy. It just seems to be across the board. Clubs are trying to rein it back in a bit. Brighton have spent big this summer on a volume of players, but they're spending the money the Todd Bowley gave them. You know? In truth, nobody's really doing a massive mad one this summer.
Yeah, Chris says we have six. Jesus Christ, Gaff. We have 6 senior midfielders. Arsenal currently have 5, and that is including Marino. City have 6 midfielders. Look at the squads. We have the same numbers. Yeah, but the thing for me is that, and all this could change, but Rice is never injured, right? Odegaard is never injured. Okay, go through the midfielders. They're never injured. They're just never injured, right?
Bags of experience.
They're never injured, right? Then you go to City and you go, like, all we hope for is that Rodri fucking hurts himself, because then all the other lads are just ready to play all the time. And as well as that, those 5 or 6, right? Moreno comes in, fair enough, right? But when you look at it, the vast majority of them know the systems they're playing for quite a while. Okay, the injury record you have, and Liverpool's is just different in that way. We don't know our system, which I'll allow for. If you had 8 midfielders and we just were losing games because we're trying the system, you go, you know what, it's teething problems, it's grand. But I don't think it'll come down to that. Part of it will, but another part of it will be, Jesus Christ, this guy's injured and that guy's injured, and then we're having to put, when you hear the words, we're having to put this guy in here, that's when it'll
when you're seeing Gakpo having to drop in and play number 8 again, or Jota having to drop in and play in midfield, that just means that's another game that someone else isn't getting a rest on the forward line because they're having to cover for Jota or Gakpo having to drop into midfield because we don't have the numbers.
Yeah,
that's what happened before.
We have a few guys in our midfield that they're not starters. Like some of the players that City or Arsenal have are easily starters. Jorginho could sit in there and start for a different team. I don't know if Curtis Jones is our starter yet. He hasn't proven that he can start 20 games back to back yet. I mean, I think we've gotten to see him in pockets and he's been great, but I don't know if he's got the robustness that we're talking about when it comes to a really like a 5-man midfield or a 6-man midfield. You need every single one of those players to be pulling their weight. And I don't know if every single one of our players is ready to be that starter consistently.
Odegaard is the best player in the league, says Real Talk. Odegaard isn't even the best player at Arsenal. No. Real talk, to be honest with you. He's not the best player in the league. He just simply isn't. He's a really, really, really good footballer. But if I was taking players out of Arsenal, there's two I'd definitely take before him. And one of them isn't Saka. So and you could argue Saka is as influential as Odegaard, but he's not the best player in the league. He's really, really good though. Don't get me wrong. Right, are we gonna go? Have we done enough?
Yeah,
I think we've done enough.
Gotta save our energy for our busy end of the week.
Busy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Fucking hell.
We might have more of those last minute transfer sheets. We never have those, so that's exciting.
Oh yeah, do you know the ones where they go?
We gotta do the fax machine.
Bing.
Or the fax machine's broken.
Yeah,
or
there's
not
big
broken.
gongs going off, and it's like the window's closed. Then you hear later on, no, well, there's actually fellas.
We haven't had a fax machine break since David De Gea.
Remember that?
Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah, no, we unplugged that fax machine. Sorry about that. Who was that? Real Madrid, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus, that was mad. But yeah, look, that whole thing, like, oh, they got the deal sheet. Have they got this deal sheet through on time? And you're like, well, did they send it before 11? You know what I mean? Such and such has got a 10-minute extension. Why? Why have you got a fucking 10-minute extension? You're just sending the fucking fax. Or you're not. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I got really upset.
You got to find someone in the office who knows how to use a fax machine.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And then like, oh no.
And pull the fax machine out of storage. Like
look at
deep,
this.
deep
look
storage.
At this. Yeah, and it's like, oh no, the toner is low. The fucking toner is low. And you're like, mate, you're sending the fucking thing. It doesn't make a difference what's the story of the toner. Oh no. And you know, it's all this sort of stuff now. There's no paper left. And you're like, they don't send your paper to
we don't
fucking
have plugs in the wall anymore.
You aren't exchanging paper. What you do is you put your paper through, and it comes out on there. And the paper doesn't you don't need to have paper in your fax.
You're just confusing the issue.
To send a fax.
You're just confusing the issue.
Do you know what I mean? It's anyway. It's the crack on
modern
Friday.
technology will never take off.
Jerry says, "Thanks, Ashley, Gavin, Ken. Great show again. He's absolutely volleyed you there, Kev. To be fair, absolutely what a volley, Van Basten. But." Look, we will be back on tomorrow night. I'd say we'll be on Thursday. We'll definitely be on Friday. We'll probably take Saturday off. We'll be back on Sunday away to Manchester United. We'll have instant match reaction, and we will have our show at 10 o'clock at night. Some of them will be free. Some of them will be members that can only comment, and some of them will be members only. Thanks a million to Sideline Football Show for making a friend. Do you know what I have visions of? The lads out of Toy Story. What's the cowboy's name?
Woody.
Buzz.
Woody and Buzz.
And
That's
Woody.
what these two are like now. You got a friend in me. I can just have that in my head now. That's all I have. Matt and Sideline in arm in arm walking through the prairies.
It's like a montage
football.
in the field.
Yeah. One can between them going, Jesus, loads in these cans. But we're gonna go. Sorry to sidetrack us there at the end. Couldn't remember that fella's name. Woody, of course it is. I've seen that film about 100 times with my kids, but still couldn't remember it. Anyway, thanks a million to Ashley. Thanks a million to Kev. I've been Gav. Thanks a million to everyone in the chat. It's been a good bit of crack tonight. Hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment afterwards, become a member, whatever you want to do. If anything happens, we'll be back on tomorrow morning.
We've got a gifted membership at the very end.
Oh, where's that?
Well done.
Yes.
Very, very end. We don't want to miss
Kieran
that.
Smith has gifted a membership by Richard Hell. There we go. Nice. Well done, Richard Hell. Emil Nikolov was gifted a membership by Richard Hell. Oh, Richard's on a roll here. William McKenna.
Yeah, he gifted 5 of them.
Yes, here they come. I've
thanks
got
very much,
three
man. Nice one.
so far, I think.
Grab it.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, well done to Richard Hell. Fair play. The membership is good. It's a bit of crack. Yeah.
And now you don't have to worry about the payment wall.
No. But the guy at the start does, can't remember his name. But I think his name was A
to
Boogie.
the end, that's what it is.
Yeah, A Boogie didn't get. If he stayed, he might have got one, but he didn't. Right, we are out of here. Thanks a million for watching.
Bye, everyone.
We'll be back tomorrow.
Night.
We promise. See you in a bit. Over and out.